There's an old saying that seeing is believing. But what if you don't believe your eyes? My name is David Flowers. After years of paranormal experiences, I've decided I needed to capture proof. So I gathered some gear and went off to find my own evidence. Come with me as I investigate paranormal places. On this episode of Paranormal Places, we're in Galveston, visiting a place that's very special to me and my family. This is Bishop's Palace. The Bishop's Palace, also known as Gresham's Castle, is an ornate 19,082 square feet Victorian-style mansion located on Broadway and 14th Street in the East End Historic District of Galveston, Texas. The house was built between 1887 and 1892 by Galveston's architect Nicholas J. Clayton for lawyer and politician Walter Gresham, his wife Josephine, and their 9 children. In 1923, the Roman Catholic Diocese of Galveston purchased the building, and it served as the bishop's residence until 1963, when the diocese opened the building to tours. The house belonged to the Galveston-Houston Catholic Archdiocese and is managed as a museum by the Galveston Historical Foundation. Paranormal investigation is prohibited at Bishop's Palace. They don't give ghost tours. They don't even talk about the place being haunted, really. But my sister worked at Bishop's Palace for years, giving tours and in the gift shop. In the times that we've visited, we have our own ghost stories, and we have captured our own evidence. We've shown up early one day, before any of the tours have started, and was granted access to the empty house before anybody else was there. The entrance to the main hall is framed by marble pillars and 2 marble sculptures. 4 polished marble pillars support the ceiling made of an oak veneer. The main hall leads to 4 rooms. The left, through a carved double door, are 2 parlors. Visitors report seeing ghostly figures and hearing mysterious footsteps. The most infamous inhabitants of Bishop's Palace are undoubtedly Walter and Josephine Gresham, so of course their presence is no surprise. Walter and Josephine Gresham commissioned the estate, living within it with their 9 children until their deaths. The Gresham's ghost allegedly moves about the mansion, attentive to the property's improvements and progressions. Walter's known to pace the halls. He's particularly active during hurricanes, leading some to believe that his frequency is protective instead of malicious. Some even say that he's an anxious apparition, nervously fretting about. Josephine's most notable haunting involves her former card box. The card box remains within the home, though it's said to move about on its own. It contains relics from her travels, making it especially sensitive to the supernatural energies. Perhaps that explains why it's never where you left it. And through another set of carved double doors are the dining room and the library. The library is paneled in walnut and contains a marble fireplace and mantel. The laughter of children and the patter of small feet run through the house is an often occurrence. The images of painted cherub angels is seen throughout the house, nearly in every room. Some say these images are the Gresham's children. Some say these angels are representations of the souls that were lost in the 1900 storm. Bishop's Palace was a sanctuary and saved over 200 people from drowning. The dining room was surrounded by service rooms and with access from the kitchen, servants' hall, and butler's pantry. We now move upstairs, up the elaborately carved staircase. The ornate stained glass is a mix from the Greshams and the Catholic Church, and is said to be priceless. When the bishop resided here, the house was converted to a functioning church. This was originally a bedroom of one of the Gresham's daughters. When the diocese moved in, the windows were replaced with stained glass. This is where I catch up with my sister, her son Garrett, who also worked and was basically raised in this house, and friends. I also start to use the Spirit Box Ghost Tube app. It runs through your software in your phone, which is surprisingly accurate. I've listened to all the voices, and if any of them come through that are relevant, I'll make sure and say so.
Bishop Hart moved in when the Archdiocese was here. Galveston was the main hub of the south part of the United States. And he did not want to buy the house. The only reason why he bought the house and agreed to it was because it was such a good price with the condition that he could live and function in the house.
Remember, it's got a simple Division 1.
So they turned the bedroom into a chapel. So he actually had services here. One of the descendants of Nicholas Clayton was in the military several years ago, and he was like recruited. He was getting ready to be deployed, so they let him get married in the house. So it's kind of like go upstairs, get married, come downstairs. You know, single going up, married coming down. But this was Josephine's bedroom, and so it was with all the stained glass. Now the stained glass is supposed to be priceless. Some of it was done like for hair with like a bristle. They had a brush that has one bristle. But it's all protected from the outside with plexiglass because the sun will damage it. But yeah, so it's been, so since the 30s. So then the Catholic Church, after Bishop Byrne died in the house, which we didn't know until we had the ghost box. Because we thought he had a heart attack and just died in his sleep and we didn't. But there was a ghost box back there, and he kept saying, I fell. And we were like, because that means it didn't make anything until someone said, I fell. But the Catholic Church owned the house, and then they decided that they were going to sell it. And Texaco made an offer, and this was like early 70s, for like millions of dollars. And so, yeah, we're going to sell it, make some money. And somebody that was on the board of directors at Texaco,
It's Thomas something.
Thomas something, tear it down, put a Texaco station right here. And so he went back to the Catholic Church and told the police not to do that they don't have good intentions with the house. And they said, okay, that's fine, but what do you want to do? But then we want to open the tours. So for a while there were nuns that would give the tours, and then eventually this little foundation just took over.
Behind this altar is a sink and a tub for baptisms and another basin for holy water. A fresco depicting the 4 gospel writers was painted on the ceiling. The room was also outfitted with an altar and 6 prayer kneelers. As we're leaving the room, I was speaking with Rayanne about the software I was using. I've got this app that will record just like normal recording, but it also has a ghost box that goes through it. And it I think it has one of those stick figures. So,
the little people? Yes.
It has all kinds of things that if it senses it, it'll record it right there.
Does it come out? Do you see it?
I haven't seen it yet. This is the first time I'm using it.
Oh, okay.
You had to buy the subscription
To get it to.
for it.
To get it to work.
What's going on with us?
And it reminds her that she has some software of her own. And she picks up something on her SLS camera, precisely in the same place where my sister Melissa says the spirit of a young girl has been seen. That's right, where Melissa said it. Well, yeah, there's a girl on the steps.
Yeah, it's right. Crazy.
You can see how a child might want to try and climb out onto the sledge and step carefully out onto the ledge. And at this point, my ghost box gives the perfect response.
Gymnast.
A little gymnast might be climbing out on the railing.
Yeah, it's right where Melissa was talking about, right there.
This is the bishop's bedroom. We used it here. So none of this was the bishop's. This was the youngest daughter of King's room. So this would have been her bed. This is actually a what is it called? Crib, and it slowly grows as baby grows. So this would have been in his bedroom, or his bed. This is where the bishop would have fallen and died. It was the bathroom because he had a heart attack.
Hanging on the bed.
It's small. It's a very small.
And it's at this time that the ghost box begins producing the voices of men speaking Latin. I've looked these words up, and they are actual Latin words. I find it very interesting. There's not very many places that Latin is used, but in Catholicism, it's used quite often, and a bishop would know Latin.
So the bathroom wasn't originally here. But it was the only and that's
Second home.
Second home. It just said second home.
Oh, yeah, so downstairs, they have a new base.
Not
Not the blue, but there's another.
Awesome, sure.
What was this room? And at this point, the spirit box starts to say names, lots of names. And when they were talking about the nuns that used to give tours here, the same woman's voice says the name Sorella twice.
Dennis looked into the channel, he said it was black. He said it was absolutely, he said he couldn't see anything. He said he walked in here and there was a light, and he walked around and he saw the bathroom. I don't know if he said he felt it, but when he walked in, that's when the chapel for him was illuminated. It's so weird. Some people have come in here and said that they can hear a woman's voice. It's different in the closet in the chapel. And then sometimes when I would be in a house by myself, I've tried really hard not to shut the house down by myself, because even when it's like, 4:30 or 5:30 and it's still light, when you're in here by yourself, it's a scary damn thing.
Oh, I used to call you last week and go around my circle ways.
Everybody has some kind of way of handling the stress of being in the house by yourself. And sometimes I couldn't even get in the closet. I'm leaving the light on because I just felt so uncomfortable. Anyway, they said it's a woman, and they've had several people tell them that it's a woman, but she's got Russian accent. And the only thing I can think of is back there in the time when some of the nuns were giving the tour, there was a nun that was from her, but that's the only connection. And she would have been Catholic, and so it makes sense that she would be in there. Yeah.
What is it? Is this like a confessional? No. That's what I think.
Everybody asks. No, so it's just for air.
Oh.
It's the only way to get air from.
It's just like a little room.
So this bathroom, or as close as they could get to a bathroom, but there was a longer. It's a washer.
Washer.
Because the only bath once a week, right?
Right.
They all use clothes. Yeah. So all the girls use that. Mrs. Russian bathroom. Let's see.
Leaving the bishop's bedroom, we crossed the hall to the Gresham's oldest son Walter's bedroom. Look how that bed is lit up.
So
That's
did
crazy.
you see the underneath?
The spirit box captures some very clear voices that seem to be talking to each other.
Fella.
We were here. We went through it like this. And his mom figured out. So this is the oldest son, Walter. And his mom in the back. And this is a portrait done by, they think, Nicholas Clayton's one of Nicholas Clayton's daughters. It's by a woman, so it's not someone, because women get something, or that's all we know for sure. But there's no, like, bill of sale or anything like that, but Nicholas Clayton wrote something about it in his diary about one of his daughters who went up.
Happiness.
So we think that's what she came about.
Hello.
Now, what was Garrett was telling us about the two portraits on the side of the...
Yeah, so she did these in like art. She would take art classes. Like that's a piece from an art class that she took. Those were art pieces. That's a self-portrait that she did.
That's huge. Can't
yeah.
even imagine.
Yeah, she was very talented. But they can't decide. They were trying to make the girls out to be her girls, which would make sense because Beulah was more fair and blonde, and Josephine had darker hair. But maybe not. She could have just been painting.
And this was a self-portrait she did.
Yeah, that's what she said. That's pretty amazing. She shuts the doors sometimes. If there's lots of kids in the house and the house is really busy, she'll shut the doors. When people see her, most of the time it's in this room. And so a lot of times when I would see her, this was my strategy for closing down the house. I would wait till the last ticket was sold for the day, which is about 4:30. And then I would give whoever was touring 30 minutes. And then I would come and sit in that chair right there. And then I would wait until they were finished.
Yeah.
And then as they were exiting the back staircase, I would hurry, close everything down so I wasn't up here by myself. But a lot of times you never see her like in full form.
And it's
always in that gray dress that she has on, or it's a sleeve, or because I would see her sleeve when she would walk by, or the hem of her skirt. It was just pieces of it.
Wow.
I heard a woman talking for a little bit. I heard a woman talking for a little bit, and then it was reggae.
Yeah, I heard a rap, and I was like, rap? Okay. Well, did you hear that woman? That's not Mrs. Russian. That's not Mrs. Russian.
They were talking Spanish.
Yeah, I heard it British. I was like, what is this coming from? Okay.
That was a voice.
I heard Enrique.
I could be. Couldn't tell what it was. But
Like you're another wrestling match. Enrique, like welcome to this corner.
yeah, maybe. Because sometimes you can just hear the quality of the voice. Like, that's not from the radio. That is
So
you could tell
right,
was announcing wrestler.
yeah.
The next words you hear sound completely different to us. Garbled, almost demonic, inhuman.
What's that?
What that was not human.
What's that?
What that was not human.
There's no spirit that says.
It goes going off.
I was just going to boys.
When I was giving tours here, the summer that I was giving tours here, our dad passed in California, right? And he had been gone maybe 2 weeks. You were already back from the funeral. And I was in her bedroom, and she said, because I was here so often when I was there, when she would talk to me, I could hear her voice about it. And she said, your dad is.
And at this time, when my sister is talking about our father, I swear I noticed the frame moving on the wall.
Does this thing ever move? Like,
No,
is it like balanced weird?
no.
I think I just saw it move.
Well, Mrs. Gresham did this, as far as I know. This is usually the pillowcase.
Have you ever seen this thing move, Melissa? Like with a breeze or something? Maybe that thing is like balanced to where it might like rock back and forth.
I don't know, because
Can I kind of touch it?
it's all plaster. It's all plaster, so they don't put holes in it.
It moved. I think I saw it move. No, I'm like, how easy you go to make that thing move?
Yeah, Nicholas Clayton.
No kidding.
So the Lee Kitten house was built. He designed that one after this one. Okay. Shortly. It's like he may have been finishing that one and starting that house same year, like so close. But that is almost, if you look at the floor plans, almost a direct miniature of this house. It's very similar. Nicholas Clayton did the church across the street. So he did the church across the street, and then during the 1900 storm, the top was taken off. They think a tornado came through.
Right.
And missed the house, but caught part of the edge of the church. And the parishioners thought that for some reason his plans doted on the customers that paid more instead of the Catholic Church. So when they decided to rebuild the Catholic Church, they didn't ask Nicholas Clayton to do it. They asked one of the parishioners to do it. Well, it was so disjointed looking from the top, from the bottom, that they didn't like it. Like nobody liked it. So they asked Nicholas Clayton to come in and fix it. So you have like Clayton's work here with the round
I should have been
windows.
recording that for James.
And then
You wanted to go in there. We tried to go in there.
oh,
Or waiting for you. Yeah.
I don't know.
It was locked.
But then he had to come in and like fix like the dome on the top, so he did a little bit more. But you can kind of almost tell, you can see like Nicholas Clayton, somebody else, and then Clayton, and then with all of the ornate work at the top again.
So I run all the way, and I know she's in the basement, so I'm like, she's home. So I ran all the way down to the basement, and she's busy doing something else. And then I said, yes, ma'am, like, you know, she's like, no. And she just looked at me, and I was like, you didn't call me? She goes, no, I'm busy. I was like, oh, okay. So I go all the way back up to finish it again. No, I'm not smart enough to figure out that I can't possibly hear her. So we're all the way downstairs again. 3 times. She said something. The last time, and then the 4th time she called me, I was like, you're not getting me. There's 3. It's too far.
Evidence of past history still remain in the house around every corner. These little dents put in the floor are from steamer trunks from where the family would store their luggage. Bishop's Palace was one of the first to have modern conveniences. An elevator, which took the place of the dumbwaiter. Looking over the edge of the staircase to the first floor, I notice an unusual flash of light.
So this was the nanny's room, Nanny Julia. So you don't get that extra breeze back here. So during the summer, this room is stifling hot because it's in the back of the house, and during the winter it's cold. Mm-hmm. So this was the nanny's room, and then eventually it just became like a guest bedroom. They just didn't really use it that often. But the Historical Foundation wanted to make this like almost like artifact and museum type room, that it would call different people to come at different times, because really once you've been in the house once as a tourist, why would you keep coming back? So sometimes they had a big thing on Samuel Morse and the telegraph and Morse code for a while. She was really big on sending postcards back to herself. So they had some of her postcards, they had letters back and forth between her and Beulah. They have a lot of artifacts, a lot of possessions that were of the Greshams that were here.
I decided to go back into the bishop's room alone, and I'm glad I did. I caught this EVP, a man's voice saying the word down. Is this the bishop asking me to kneel? There was absolutely no one else in the room with me, but the voice sounds like he's very close. After listening to the voice, it sounds very similar to the EVP caught earlier, saying the word Gresham. Are these two voices the same man? Is it Mr. Gresham? Or possibly the bishop, trying to communicate from the other side?
Okay, now see, that's funny. That's weird. So like from my knees down, it was just like,
It's probably the little girl.
like imagine a cat on steroids.
Yeah, it's probably her.
Rose says she starts to feel something like small children brush by her legs. I had a similar experience, and I lean in to tell her the story. One time I was walking in the front door, and you know the feeling you get when there's little kids around and you don't want to just throw your arms down because you might smack one, and so you're kind of like, and I felt that, like almost like children run by me and then go into the library. And then I just kind of had this feeling that I wanted to just go, wee, and like be like, yay. And I went around and then made a big circle and came back to where I started. And I was like, I never really realized that you can go in the library and go all the way around and come back.
So they were running through the house.
Yeah, just through a circle. And it's in this footage that I capture this unusual shaft of light that goes from the upper left-hand corner of the bookcase down to the right-hand side. You can tell that it's going through three-dimensional space and not a reflection in the glass on the bookcase.
Okay, that dog is. Yeah, Philip's dog. Philip, it's a dog, but it's got a human face.
Yep, kind of wolf. That's their werewolf lineage. Each one of the sculpted
cherub angel statues is different. They all have different facial features. They all have different elements around them. Some adorned with a crown, or leaves, or in a shell. Also around the children are other iconography of the family's lineage, books to represent knowledge, the lion for strength.
The 1892 Bishop's Palace, also known as the Gresham House, is a contributing building to the East End Historic District, a National Historic Landmark. The house is listed in the National Register of Historic Places at the national level of significance in the area of architecture. Architectural historians list Bishop's Palace as one of the most significant of Victorian residences in the country. The house was built from 1887 to 1892 for Colonel Walter Gresham and his wife Josephine, with whom he had 9 children. This small lot and oversized house make it an anomaly among similar houses of the period and architectural style. In Galveston's great period of mansion building, the 1870s to 1890s, Walter Gresham commissioned Nicholas Clayton, Galveston's premier architect, resulting in Clayton's most significant residential design and arguably the finest of the Broadway beauties.
So this is where, when I did see her, this is where I'd look in her bedroom and I would see just like sleeve or tail, you know, she had her skirt.
As other visitors start to enter the palace, we know that our time alone with the house is over. And we start to follow each other down the back service staircase. It is at this place in the staircase where images of small children have been seen, and it is in this part of the staircase I find an unusual orb anomaly.
In the front room, see?
That's crazy.
This is, and they're old, like that's Morgan, so she's, 20
Yeah,
years ago,
yeah.
but.
Yeah, but still, that's awesome.
She get,
Like it's, yeah.
yeah, she gets mad.
There it is.
There it is again. But you can,
It's technically C. Totally C. It's female. Must look like she has a hat.
Yeah.
I love that. That's awesome.
This is my niece, Morgan, in the downstairs of the palace during Christmas. The unusual shape is completely unexplained, but it does resemble a woman in a form-fitting dress appropriate for the time period, complete with a hat.
Are you all ready to go? Yeah, okay.
I want a soda and a payment.
Yes! It's here on these stairs going down to the basement. This picture was captured of a purple orb floating in midair. Before leaving, we take a trip through the basement, which is actually on the first floor. The island being at sea level makes it impossible to build an actual basement. If you look close, you can see Mrs. Gresham painted bushes and trees and flowers all along the rocks here in the basement. In this footage, you can tell how far everyone else is behind me as I go ahead of them to get some B-roll shots. I'm taking a picture in the front of the house, and there's absolutely no one else around me. Then what is this shadow? Who causes this shadow? There's no one else around. You can tell how long it takes for the voices of the others to come up from behind me. There's a good 4 to 5 seconds before the others come up the stairs, and there was absolutely no one else around.
Okay, now let's. Yeah. Okay, now let's go through.
Bishop's Palace is more than a historic house. It houses history. Apparitions appear and disappear. Specters are seen, then recede. Walter and Josephine Gresham remain the home's haunted hosts, vigilant to visitors, wakeful and watchful. If you come here, respect this home. It's been here for 134 years, and with a little help, it can be here for 134 more. And maybe its permanent residents will show you hospitality as well. For Paranormal Places, this has been David Flowers. And as always, if you find yourself in the dark, remember, you're not alone. The magnificent 1893 League Kipner House is one of the few remaining Broadway beauties in Galveston. After years of neglect, this amazing house was at risk of collapse and was placed on the Galveston Historical Foundation's Heritage at Risk list,
Purchased in January 2021 by Janie Mitchum, who was committed to restoring it to its former glory. The house has been transferred to a non-profit to ensure that it can be preserved for future generations. This once abandoned Victorian mansion is undergoing a massive restoration. Designed by noted architect Nicholas Clayton, this Galveston historical treasure is slowly coming back to life. Real estate investor and self-described capitalist John Charles League and his wife Camilla Nellie Ball commissioned Nicholas J. Clayton to design their new residence in 1892. The house was the last large residential commission of Clayton's career. After League's death in 1916, Eliza Kempner, matriarch of the Kempner family, acquired the house. The house remained in the Kempner family until 1972.
And this was all in the house before.
And the guys took the stained glass down and they put engineering and had to put the bottle, or paint the bottle to put it up.
Because this was too.
So the stained glass looked like that.
Yes.
And then they took it down and painted it. But is it going to go back up eventually?
Yeah, eventually. But it's
in safekeeping right now.
It's in safekeeping in Waco.
Because of the construction.
It's got to be restored.
Yeah.
There was glass here and there was glass there.
Yeah.
So this is the room that Rose says that she's sitting with our friend of ours that has been here the whole time with me. She's like, about the retreat. I don't think it's her headache or it gets her weird.
Yeah, she can't go back
Weird
there.
vibes. That's interesting.
And a lot of our photos from Richard's room. A lot of them, and then we had the meetings from there.
That's right.
And there's that, remember we were telling the story about the chandelier? There's the chandelier.
Oh, wow. That's creepy.
We actually she has a video of it when we were doing that thing. We kept hearing something living on this corner. There's three of us. We kept hearing something. We had it on video through that and that chandelier room.
Oh my
We have it on
goodness.
video. Yeah. Because I don't think that chandelier is the house, right? Yeah, I didn't think so. Yep.
Yeah, the floor plan is very similar to this house.
It is.
I was just thinking that, like the same
Scaled
kitchen.
down. Yeah, it's very
That's why I told you
obvious. It's very obvious.
Yeah.
It's the same. Upstairs is different.
Yeah,
Down
down here.
downstairs. Very
Yeah.
similar.
I've been over there and I'm like, oh, that looks familiar.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We were talking about that lunch. I was like, that's a lot of the same. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Thank you very
Thank you so much for
much.
the email. Because there is an email thing that you can join.
Okay.
For volunteers, volunteer night. Yeah.
It's Lee Kemner House.
Yeah. Okay. And then you would put it, because they email me all the time. Okay. When they're having dates, but
With 7,800 square feet of living space for the family, the ground floor and third floor workspaces and living quarters for servants, the total square footage is just under 14,000 square feet. It is estimated the house remains over 95% original. Even the Victorian kitchen is intact and untouched. 2 upstairs open porches were enclosed in the 1940s, and 2 more bathrooms were added, but no interior walls have been moved. And the house's original plasterwork and millwork remains in the original condition. The house has also started to host paranormal events, seances, ghost tours, and investigations. I'm not sure if they have an overnight stay yet, but I will let you know. These things are cool. These things are cool. I love this place. It does seem to have
It does seem to have almost an insane asylum feel for some reason.
No, I feel like I'm losing my mind.
Like a hospital. Maybe this place was used as a hospital.
I don't want to ask because I'll get answers and I don't want any answers.
Right.
I don't want to be here at night.
Situated on 1 acre, the house is an imposing sight on Galveston's main thoroughfare, Broadway Street. The property includes the principal dwelling, a garage, extensive lawn, and greenhouse. Clayton's modified L design featured wraparound front porch, side porches, and a portico. Even during the day, this place looks terrifying. I have not yet fully been through the entire house, but I do have plans to visit soon, and hopefully we'll have time for an investigation as well. Stay tuned for more updates. Thank you for watching Paranormal Places. This has been David Flowers. And as always, if you find yourself in the dark, remember, you're not alone.